Let's go back to this breaking news now that Hamas has released 2 more hostages. This after 2 American-Israeli hostages were released on the weekend. So that brings the number to 4 now. Joining us live from Tel Aviv is the former Israeli intelligence officer and the Middle Eastern expert, Avi Melamed. Avi, good to see you. Thanks for your time. So what do you make of this latest breaking news this hour that 2 more hostages, according to the Red Cross, have been released?
Thank you for having me. Well, what we see is part of a Hamas tactic. We have to understand Hamas is now holding some 220 hostages. Most of them, of course, are civilians, babies, kids, women, old people. And Hamas is trying as much as possible to exhaust that card as a bargaining chip. He hopes to manipulate the whole story of the hostages, hoping that by doing that he could be able to more and more delay and postpone and actually diffuse, in a way, the possibility of a massive Israeli ground operation that will is aimed to end his rule over Gaza Strip. So what we see is what I call the Salami System. You know, last week Hamas released 2 hostages. Today he is releasing another 2 hostages. In between, there are talks about potentially some deal brokered by Qatar for the release of another 50 hostages. But I think it's quite clear that in the end of the day, particularly when the international community sends a very clear message to Hamas that he has to immediately release all the hostages, that this is not acceptable, I wonder to what extent and how long could Hamas continue this salami system, modus operandi.
So Avi, when the US government says we need to stall this ground invasion because we need to keep up our negotiations to try and get more hostages out, your belief is that actually favours or plays into Hamas's hands?
Well, again, it depends how do you look at it from an operational perspective. I mean, people are asking whose side is time on, is it the Israelis, is it Hamas? And I don't know to say necessarily if this is the right way to approach it. Right now we are looking at a very complex situation. We've got many moving parts. But I think that the right thing is to look at it in the kind of like the wider regional perspective, because what we see right now is an increasing United States military deployment in the Middle East, as apparently the estimation is that we are heading to a wider expanding of the whole situation. And I think that that has also to do with the request of the United States for the time being to try and to maximize as much as possible the diplomatic channel to release the hostages that are being held by Hamas.